the fantastic reduced to something more manageable. Regardless of my actions, mankind will still be slavish to its nature. There will still be wars and weapons of wars and men who make such things. Today on the Comic Book Report, Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Invasion. Stick around and check it out. Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today we're kicking off Marvel's new Ultimate Universe with the Ultimate Invasion miniseries by Jonathan Hickman. You may have seen my review recently of Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1. Yes, I did put the cart before the horse a little bit. I probably should have started with an Ultimate Invasion review, but I just couldn't wait to talk about Spider-Man. At any rate, if you want to see that video, I'll try to link it. But for today, we're going to be talking about the Ultimate Invasion miniseries that really is the foundation kicking off the new Ultimate Universe. I can't wait to talk about this book today, but before we do, I want to shout out the channel sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com. If you're looking to pick up your own comic book collected editions, I highly encourage you to check out their website. You can find a link for it in this video's description, and if you see anything there you like, you can actually use my discount code at checkout, TheComicBookReport, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate code or link to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a fantastic way to support this channel. Thank you so much for considering. Now let's get started with today's trade paperback review. First, some quick facts about today's collection. The issues in this volume were written by Jonathan Hickman and penciled by Bryan Hitch. The comics in this volume were published by Marvel Comics beginning in 2023. The volume itself collects Ultimate Invasion, issues 1 through 4. And finally, this is a standard size trade paperback edition with glossy print paper stock, a glued binding, and a total of 192 pages. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and issue a general spoiler warning. I will be flipping through the contents of today's collection and commenting on plot points throughout. You've been advised. Okay, and here's our first look at today's trade paperback collection, Ultimate Invasion. I really like the layout of this cover. It matches with what they're doing with Ultimate Spider-Man as well, and presumably the other paperbacks when they get released. I love the kind of uniformity we see here. We kind of have a field of white that the image is put on. We have the title and stuff along the side. Really like it. That U predominantly displayed at the top as well, which I'm assuming is kind of the image of the new Ultimate Universe. The spine as well is very similar again to what I saw in Ultimate Spider-Man, Married with Children. I really like it. I like the look of the spines. I like the uniformity so far. I think it'll be really nice to get a handful of these paperbacks on the bookcase, hopefully, as they get rolled out. But yeah, this is a really fun little miniseries. At 4 issues, I'm really impressed that it got up to 192 pages. We have a bit of extras, and these issues are a fair size. Love the image we get at the back cover here. Bryan Hitch's art is just absolutely fantastic and immediately reminiscent of the older Ultimates series he did back in the day with Mark Millar. Really just love it. Striking character models. Really excited for what this new universe has to hold. And now that we've looked at the exteriors, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the binding. Like I said, this is a glued binding, nothing too fancy here. It's about what you'd expect from a standard size trade paperback. I didn't have any issues with it, perhaps a little bit of gutter loss, but again, nothing too wild. It was all pretty minimal, and my copy was well bound, no complaints. Okay, now let's go ahead and dive into the collection proper. We have some nice kind of title pages, publication page, double page spread, Ultimate Invasion. Love seeing all of that. Then we have sort of the chapter break, white background, minimalist text that I've seen in a lot of Jonathan Hickman works over here at Marvel, like his Avengers run, his Fantastic Four run. It all looks very Hickman right from the drop. And as a professed Hickman fan, I was absolutely glued from moment one. So as we begin flipping through, let me set the stage with the new Ultimate Universe here for those that maybe have a lot of questions. Hopefully I can demystify it a little bit. So Marvel rolled out their initial Ultimate Universe back in the early 2000s, and we had that going for a number of years. A lot of great series there. Like I said, I'm a fan of Mark Millar's Ultimates, Ultimate Spider-Man, of course, by Bryan Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley. They had Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four, and numerous other titles. That run went for a long time before ultimately the old Ultimate Universe came to a head with Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, which came out in 2015, not to be confused with the older Secret Wars from the 1980s, or Secret War from, I think, Bryan Michael Bendis, or Secret Wars 2, or, Marvel likes to have their Secret Wars. Anyway, after the event of Secret Wars, the old Marvel Ultimate Universe was no more, but we had some vestiges from that universe, namely one of the titular characters in this miniseries here, which is the Maker. Now, this character has popped up throughout the Marvel Universe since the events of Secret Wars. I know I loved his inclusion in Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's Venom run, for example, but he's been kind of lurking in the background, and here he's setting some of his plans in motion. Our story begins with a kind of jailbreak-like scene where the Maker is freed from his imprisonment to ultimately enact his new plan, which is to begin a new Marvel universe, to create a new home Ultimate Universe. But he doesn't want to leave things as they are. No, because of all the knowledge he has, he actually wants to manipulate events so that a lot of the heroes in the Marvel Universe maybe never get empowered or never find their way together, so that his own kind of nefarious, villainous ends can be met. So he crafts this new universe with so much of that in mind. Of course, Marvel 616 and its heroes try to stop the Maker, but they are always kind of outpaced and outstepped by this villainous foe. We have a great interaction between 616's Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and the Maker. They have a huge personal link that I won't kind of spoil here for those that maybe don't know who the Maker is, but a terrific villain spilling out of the Ultimate Universe, and I love the kind of interactions we get between Reed and the Maker in this. Another little wrinkle earlier in this book, we actually have the Maker show up at Miles Morales' house and basically invite him to come along, saying, hey, you're not home, you're not from this universe, come with me, I'll bring you, air quotes, home. He said, if the shoe were reversed, I'd want you to reach out to me, because it's not right, we shouldn't be here. And Miles basically says, no thank you, I'm good. And the Maker leaves him a seemingly blank business card and vanishes. We don't really get much more from Miles here in this book, but that was still a really fun interaction. Again, another great link to the pre-Secret Wars sort of Ultimate Comics era. But anyway, after that, we have the Maker basically doing his plan and creating this new universe. After this point, we really follow a couple other point of view characters, namely Tony Stark's father. Yes, Howard Stark is a prominent figure in the new Ultimate Universe, at least in Ultimate Invasion. We have him paired up with Obadiah Stane, and he's invited to a kind of summit of sorts. We have a gathering of all of these predominant figures in this new Ultimate Universe, and it's sort of this interesting cabal put together by the Maker. We find out again that he's kind of just twisted this new Marvel Universe so that it's devoid of a lot of its main heroes. We have him shifting the flight plan of the Fantastic Four shuttle so that the Fantastic Four aren't empowered. We have him capturing the radioactive spider before it bites young Peter Parker. What else do we have? There are some events he can't stop, like the formation of the Incredible Hulk. He's still gamma blasted, although who he is now is quite a bit different. This universe still has Howard Stark as a predominant character. We have Tony Stark, just kind of his young son, not really involved with this universe quite yet, at least at the beginning of this series. We also see, kind of in the middle, we see that the Maker actually has been damaged. He had his brain sort of messed with, and he's trying to fill in the gaps as as to what happened. He has this kind of time machine and universal kind of jumping machine that is not working. That's one of the reasons we find out he's contracted Howard Stark and this version's new Doctor Doom, question mark. The two of them try to repair the machine, and we have this idea that the Maker has maybe done a couple trips through time in his attempt to manipulate this universe, and that something happened in the timeline where he was injured and lost part of his memory, but we don't really know what that is. At any rate, Ultimate Invasion comes to a head. We have people trying to stop the Maker. We have a look at what I believe is this dimension's Kang the Conqueror, which is a really fun wrinkle as well, being a real time and universal type villain. I thought his inclusion was also quite notable. We also have the young Tony Stark challenging his father Howard to really, put a stop to the evil here, to take it down from the inside, and it's all just really good fun. There are, of course, a lot more twists and turns in this arc, but ultimately this book establishes the new Ultimate Universe. There isn't a huge resolution at the end of this book. We have kind of a new foundation, I would say, at the end of this book. We have a couple of these characters kind of caught in this time capsule that's not going to be opening for a couple years. We have sort of everyone else having this feeling, or at least those that are involved, having this feeling that things are not as they should be. We have the world's superpowers run by a lot of this cabal, these kind of evil, influential figures in the Ultimate Universe, and we're left as readers to kind of figure out what is the status quo now? What has changed from the 616 we know? What's different perhaps from the old Ultimate Universe? What is the Maker still up to? What is here in the future? And honestly, the stage is set. I think that Jonathan Hickman gave us a fantastic launching point. I will say this is probably an essential read before reading Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man for those interested. You can start with that, but again, this really establishes the status quo in a similar way that House of X Powers of 10 set up the status quo for the Krakoa era of X-Men. So I do think that this is going to be a pivotal little mini-series. My one caveat here is I wish they included the Ultimate Universe issue 1, which I think was kind of a one-shot that bridged the gap between this and Ultimate Spider-Man, because that Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1 references things that happened in Ultimate Universe, which occurred after the events of this Ultimate Invasion. I'm honestly not sure why they didn't include it in this paperback. I think it would have been a perfect addition. But yes, there is a bit of a bridge between this and Ultimate Spider-Man. I have not, unfortunately, read it. I had to look up some of the plot details online to just enjoy Ultimate Spider-Man that much more fully. But again, I think that would have been a great inclusion to this collection. But I think as it stands by itself, this 4-issue miniseries is still really fun. The wrap-up is pretty good as far as, again, just kind of setting the stage. And it has me just excited for this new world. I think having Bryan Hitch on art was just a masterstroke. Again, for me, it's really evocative of his part in the foundation of some of the earlier Ultimate Universe, again, with series like The Ultimates. I just recognize that style, and although it's a little tweaked, a little different here, it's still really iconic and reminiscent of that old Ultimate Universe. I also love that we have Hickman on this. There's some clear love for the Ultimate Universe for Hickman. I know he's done his own work throughout the Ultimate Universe. There's even a Jonathan Hickman Ultimate Omnibus, and then of course he created Secret Wars, the 2015 series, which, shifted that Ultimate Universe, ended it perhaps forever. So I love that he's also here at the reemergence of a new Ultimate Universe. How fun. Like a lot of Hickman's work, this is pretty heady and cerebral at different moments. I just feel like Hickman is best when he's doing things like this that just do storytelling on an epic and grand scale. And this really didn't disappoint. I had a friend recommend reading this before Ultimate Spider-Man, and ultimately I'm very happy I did. It's a great miniseries in its own right, but I think it's going to be essential with, again, just enjoying this Ultimate Universe to come. I think that he did a fantastic job with all of these characters. I think that some of them just feel so intrinsically like the characters they're meant to be, regardless of the universe, and some feel very remixed and make me very cautious as to trusting them or who they are in this new world. I think that this is so much fun. I do think that this is a perfect point for new readers who want to dive into this new universe, but certainly if you have knowledge of the previous Marvel Ultimate Universe, the character of the Maker, maybe what happened in Secret Wars, you might enjoy this all the more. I will say as well, for those worried that this is only a 4-issue miniseries, is it worth the value? I want to say a resounding yes. At 4 issues, this still felt so packed out, especially with everything that Hickman managed to pull off in just these 4 issues. At the back of the book, we do have a bit of a cover art gallery, which is fun to see even in a smaller trade paperback collection like this. We have some solicits for some other titles, including Secret Wars, and honestly, that's about it for Ultimate Invasion. Now all that's left to do is to give this collection a grade. For absolutely jaw-dropping art from the great Bryan Hitch and a masterful creation narrative for this new Marvel Ultimate Universe, even if it doesn't include the Ultimate Universe issue, the Comic Book Report is happy to give Ultimate Invasion, the trade paperback, an A-. I think this is an essential and important read to understanding this new universe. It's Hickman at one of his shining best. I love what he does here when he again lays the groundwork for an epic scale story. The character interactions we got in this book were meaningful, engaging, and interesting. This is an absolute page-turner that at 4 issues didn't feel overstuffed, but felt like a good, comprehensive reading experience. I had so much fun making my way through this, and it absolutely got me excited to dive into everything new Ultimate Universe after this point. I'm looking right at you, Ultimate Spider-Man. But let me know what you think of Ultimate Invasion, this new Marvel Ultimate Universe, all things Jonathan Hickman and more in the comments. I would love to get some discussions going, perhaps some recommendations. Are you reading Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men, or any of the other titles going on right now? Let me hear all about it in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. This has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, that comment we just talked about, and maybe check out another video on your way out. Thanks everyone, bye.